Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Welcome to the show with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. I'm a best-selling author for the books Are You Visible, Money Makers, and many other books. And I'm also the curator for TEDx Huntington Beach. And today I have a very special guest with me, Kelly A. Norton, who has just become a best-selling author of her book Silent Streets, the chronicle visual of Las Vegas Shutdown. And the cool thing is that Callie just came back from a 10-day cruise. So that is just, what a life, right? And I wanted to bring her today to share, like, from her book, the key things that she learned from the shutdown. There's so many impacts. I know, like, some of us are like, oh my God, I can't talk about the shutdown anymore and the pandemic. But what we don't realize is the effect that it has on essential workers, on marriage, on relationship. So, Kelly, welcome to the show and thank you for being here. So, let's go dive straight in. Can you share with us your the things that you have learned from the Las Vegas shutdown to families, to businesses, and relationships?
Well, what I learned is that we don't appreciate the value of the things around us as much as we should. During the shutdown, it affected businesses, tourism, our economy, the way we're actually allowed to hold prayer. Our military veterans were also affected. And I realized that if we could only just capture and appreciate the value of what we have, ultimately we can, um, just value the people and things around us that much more.
Absolutely. It's just capturing those moments, right, Callie, in those visually. So Callie is an amateur photographer. So her book isn't just an essay, but she has beautiful photographs that capture the silent streets of Las Vegas. Imagine Las Vegas like being silent. Like literally there was no one there capturing that and or walking around and what kind of like the things that I've learned to businesses, the impact to business, how did businesses could survive? I know there's a lot of businesses that didn't make it even after they've been in business for many years. So what are the things that you could see are the takeaways for businesses to survive in such situation?
Well, what I realized is that just like all of us, businesses had to pivot in a time where their business will either go under or they need to pivot with time and change to go virtual, to ultimately see their customer from a perspective of how can I help you instead of just being the retailer and waiting for them to come to you. And so as we went through this shutdown, I personally went from being a social butterfly to being in isolation. And my form of pivot was getting out, pulling out my camera and photographing everything around me. There's nobody around. Nobody could hear me cry. Nobody could hear me scream. And ultimately, I think we don't appreciate the value of the things around us. Kids playing in the park, dogs running around us, barking and playing with their toys, or the hustle and bustle of Las Vegas. It's one of the most magnificent places on earth. It's only shut down one other time in its history. And so it's vital to our economy here in Las Vegas to ultimately have a thriving business. And being shut down, everyone had to pivot, including, its residents.
Absolutely. And this capturing thing, it is, I think the pandemic and your book is, going to be part of history because, God forbid that we ever come across this. I think in my grandma mom, she passed away recently, but in her lifetime, she said that, this has never happened before, and she lived to the age of 84. So, she when she was in Malaysia, she had the colonization of the Japanese people and British, but never had this moment of the pandemic happened before. And like capturing those histories, those moments, is it like you were saying, is it a way for your voice to be heard? Like, oh my God, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm seeing, this is what my eyes are seeing. Oh my, I really miss this time when the park is full. But now, nobody is there. Is that kind of the things that you're trying to express from your photography, the storyline, the stories behind that, the little things that people are missing?
Definitely. I think that as I started capturing pictures around me, it wasn't only like the shut down parks with the caution tape on the swing set. It was the all of the lights being shut off on Fremont Street. It was um, the boarded up buildings, and each of them hold major significance with regard to this book. So as I was capturing these pictures, I didn't realize what I was capturing. I didn't realize while I was taking the pictures, I was just finding the beauty in all things. And it wasn't until about a year and a half later, I started to data dump them into my files that I realized what I had here. And then so I started to Google if there were any other books or coffee table books or anything on, file. And there wasn't anything like it. And here I had all these pictures and I said, well, how can I enhance it? So I started to collect all the data from the COVID-19 marriage rates, divorce rates, mental health issues, and how it affected, the homeless. It was about just connecting with everything that was going around with the pictures and putting it into a book that could be put into the historic society, really, because there is nothing like it out there. And it also makes you really realize the beauty of Las Vegas. It's absolutely stunning in its eerie silence. But ultimately, I think that um, you'll be able to appreciate the value of the things around you. When you see it and you're like, wow, this has never happened in a lifetime. And
Absolutely.
you'll never be able to see that again. It
I
just
mean,
won't.
God forbid, no, right? Because we talk about going to Costco, not having the toilet tissue now, and the formula and all that. But but you're right. Kind of appreciating the everyday joy. The small little things. Sometimes we're like, oh, we need to have something big to appreciate things, but it's not. It's the everyday things of um, like for me, going to the playground and seeing my kids playing with other kids. There were none during COVID because people don't want to go into the park and, got cross contamination from playing on the slides or what have you not. My husband literally did suggest, why don't you bring the antiseptic to the playground? And I'm like, babe, I'm not gonna like disinfect the entire playground for that. So that was that thought as well. And I wanted to kind of like for you to share, you've taken potentially thousands and thousands of pictures throughout the pandemic. And in your book, Silent Streets, I think those pictures are not just being dumped, but they are thoughtfully figured out into a storyline on which picture are serving its purpose. So can you talk about, how did you kind of like, you pull all the data about marriage statistics, veterans, but how did you like fit the puzzle, those data with your pictures? Because, I think your picture is speaking a storyline that has a lot of care, a lot of heart, and a lot of wisdom in it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, my whole thought process was to just share the world with what was around me. And in my coffee table book, because I have a travel version which is just the Las Vegas Strip, but the coffee table book holds all over, from Fremont Street to the Art District to um, the 9 October 1st Memorial. And each situation that I put into the book, like, I wanted to honor people. I wanted them to know that the voices are always going to be heard. It's kind of like when I was taking a picture of the memorial, the October 1st Memorial. And I write in a whole little summary on that. And it was erected in 4 days. It was donated by MGM. And the voices and the angels that were there had silent streets. It was like nobody was around to visit them. And here it is, I was capturing it with nobody in the picture. It, instead of having the hustle and bustle, what I realized is that I could have been one of them. And I say that because the night of the incident, my boyfriend and I, we were out at a bar and we were going to attend that concert. But what happened was late. We were already partying throughout the day, and we decided we were going to go home. And so a couple had come up and sat next to us at the bar, and they're just like, "Oh my God, we're so sad. We're not going to this concert." And we're like, well, we really don't want to go now at this point because we're already tired. So we donated the tickets to these people. Now, hindsight, you look back, but they went to the concert. We went home, and ultimately we, watched a show or two and then fell asleep. But my phone started blowing up. And I have this thing on my phone that when I'm in meetings, it will flash me. It won't ring or buzz. So all of a sudden my phone started going flash, 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 flash. And then I'm like, okay, this is weird. So usually if it does it twice, I'll look, just because, might be somebody texting me. And then everyone's like, oh my God, how are you? Are you okay? Where are you? Why aren't you responding to us? We messaged you this zillion times. And I'm like, what is going on? And that's when we turned on the news to find out about all of the victims of the shooting, because we were supposed to be there. And it was at that moment I realized, did the people we give tickets to pass away? And I felt as though we were in this position where we didn't know. But luckily, they were safe. There was a superficial wound to the gentleman, but ultimately they got out with their lives. And it was a big relief to know that I could have been one of them, and so blessed to be able to um, go through such a traumatizing experience away from from an outsider's perspective. So I wanted to honor all of those victims in my book. And it was important because, like I said, I could have been one of them.
Yeah, and then what a thing to realize, right? Again, the things of beauty and the gratitude and appreciation, and um, a moment of silence for those who were affected in that tragedy. So, and who would have thought, right, Kelly? An innocent day out with your boyfriend, and I really think, you know what, we're just tired. We really are. And these people are just so excited to go. I'm like, you know what? Why don't we do an act of kindness and share this with them? Because we're just done, like you were saying, we're just so tired. We just want to go home. It's like those, I think the intention of having an innocent act of kindness, it what kind of like gave I don't know how to call it, the protection or like the mercy of you being safe and the gentleman and the person being taken care of, but not to contradict the thing that happened. I mean, it is a tragedy, but in a way, like you said, it could have been you. And it just reminds us, Kelly, that life is just so short. Like, why are you like, why are we kind of like hooked onto things that isn't serving us? If you think about it, like you said, our lives could have just been taken. So that is just like a profound indication on what we should focus on, what should really matters. Should we be mad at other people, or should we just kind of like, right, forgive them, give them grace, and let's move on from here? So that was, beautiful, Kelly, and you captured that in your book, right?
Yeah.
There's a picture about that in your book of the voices of the angels, of the voices of the people from there. So again, Silent Streets is available on Amazon. It's a beautifully crafted book, something that has been thoughtfully presented as well. So it has a lot of heart, a lot of care, a lot of wisdom in it. But the question on my mind, and perhaps in the viewers as well, why Las Vegas? Of all the cities, you could have said Los Angeles, like where we live, but why Las Vegas?
Well, I have to say, in 2015, I was imported from New England. So I raised my family out in Massachusetts, and I had an opportunity to pivot my life. And the company imported me to Las Vegas. Now, it took me a long time to get acclimated because it's a very transient city. And not knowing many people can really set you into a depression. And it took me about a year and a half to get acclimated, but then I fell in love with the city. Now you have fine dining, you have entertainment that is bar none. Any kind of food at any kind of hour you ever wanted is here. We're 45 minutes from the lake, we're 45 minutes from the snow, and it's like you have it all. You can go hiking, you can go walking, you can go biking, you can um, do water sports, and I've really just made this place my home. The people, once you're acclimated, they're actually really warm. It's the transient ones that are just here for, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas that ultimately we allow them to sow their oats because obviously they're here to have a little fun and try not to. So, but ultimately, Las Vegas is an amazing, amazing place to live. In addition, there's a lot of tax benefits with no state taxes. So, in my eyes, it was the perfect breeding ground for me to, branch out and start my own entrepreneurial ways. And this was my first commitment to get done for myself. And I'll check it off the box, but my goal is to get it into all of the gift shops across Las Vegas, just so people can take home a piece of history.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I personally have never been to Vegas, but my son is hopefully having a ice hockey tournament in Vegas. So that's why I think I have a tour guide ready to go with you, Kelly.
Yes,
If I do come
absolutely.
to Vegas, we can like leave my son at the tournament, and then you and I we're just gonna go to the other side, right? So
Yeah.
that's a possibility. And that is great in Vegas. It's yeah, like you said, there's people who's like the transient people, like what stays in Vegas happens in Vegas. I mean, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of thing. But there's also the people, the local people, right, who care about Vegas, who's there to who loves the life. So I'm not sure about the weather. I've heard that it can get pretty hot in Vegas, but who cares about what happens over there? And within driving distance, you can get possibly anything that you want in terms of food, in terms of grocery, in terms of the experiences that you want to get. So that is, a really vibrant city. I'm assuming you can go to take tacos or fried chicken at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But that is like, yeah, that is Vegas. It just doesn't sleep, a city that never sleeps. And Kelly is also an entrepreneur. She's the owner of Rockstar Crystal. She's also a certified crystal healer and sound frequency healing. So I know that this is kind of like also your passion, your passion. So can you just share with us a little bit about this passion of yours, about crystals, about the sound frequency, and what are they? Some people may be a little bit new to this, and you mentioned to me before offline we got started that everything in us has a specific frequency and vibration. And when we tune into that specific frequency or vibration, perhaps coupling it with crystal or something like that, it can help with the well-being state and the healing process. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, yes, I would love to. Okay, so I started Rockstaria Crystals about 4 years ago, and I just had a passion for crystals. As you can see, both behind me, you probably have tons of crystals, and so and I have the sound frequency bowls. I also have Veggio tuning forks and also a rife machine. Now, when people think frequency, any rock that comes from Earth, any crystal. It could be a crystal quartz, an aventurine. It could be pretty much anything. Everything has a frequency. And when they say, a rock in one hand is a gem in another, right? There are no two people that see things identically. And it's kind of like the see, believe, receive kind of thing. If you believe in the power of the energy of which you have, it will masticize itself. It's almost like a manifestation, except for you're dealing with crystals and meditation and the ability to just enjoy that frequency. Well, sound frequency, there's over 10,000 that I have control of sound frequencies that can heal anything from a thyroid to a lump, a cyst. It could bring back your hearing. It could improve your vision. It could, if you have any sort of oxygen deficiency, enhance the oxygen within your body. It could just level your vibration to a remote viewing kind of state at that point. So even our clothes hold frequency. People don't realize when they're wearing Lululemon and they're looking really cute and hot at the gym, their frequency level is at about a 10 or a 15. That's because the rayon and the materials made of it are not of the earth, and they're all fabrication, and it lowers your vibration. Now, if you were to wear cotton or linen, it raises the vibration on that is so much higher, and it also brings your state up higher. So you want to always live in a high vibrational state in order to make sure that you maximize your frequency. It's kind of like when you're happy, it's just like you're getting a high frequency. And when you're sad and melancholy, you're really low frequency. And why do frequencies matter? They matter because ultimately it can dictate your path. If you're always sad and lonely, you'll always be in a low level frequency. But the minute you start to pick up, exercise real quick, run in place real quick, it brings up that energy level, and it just it livens you. And you ultimately, living in a high vibrational state, you can conquer the world. And I try to live by the way I speak. I want to live in that high vibrational. So I do my best to try to make sure I stay in that high vibrational side. And I'm slowly weeding out my wardrobe too.
I, oh my God, the wardrobe thing, Kelly. I just did like a KonMari thing. KonMari is a technique shared by Marie Kondo on having things that sparks joy. It is hard, right, Kelly? Because not just things that don't fit, but it's just the emotional nostalgia that clothes can have to you. So, but I love this topic about frequency and vibration because it's something that is what we learn it in physics, don't we? Like everything has a frequency, everything has a vibration, but it's just how it is applied to everyday life. Perhaps we can have another conversation about this topic. It's just so interesting to see how 10,000 frequencies that you are in control of, and I'm pretty sure there are more frequencies that
Oh yeah,
we don't.
definitely.
There's gonna be like others like for thousands of millions of frequencies that we don't know of, and that's a really great tip, Callie, of kind of like bringing the frequency, the higher vibration frequency of love, generosity, compassion, happiness, and bringing it to like even the clothes that we wear, like wear something that is earth made material if possible,
Mhm.
cotton or linen. So we always have that connection with earth, right? And the let's not talk about the things we put in our face, the things like could lower the vibration. And who would have thought Lululemon has like the frequency, a lower vibration because it's like a bright, it's
Yes.
kind of like bright popping thing. But I suppose it's not just about the
The
words
top.
or the color, but it's just like
Yeah.
the different aspects of it. Callie, what would be the best way for people to reach out to if they wanted resources on Las Vegas or if they wanted resources on crystal and sound healing? What would be the best way for people to reach out to you?
Well, for crystals, they can go to my web address at www.rockstarea.com. It's Rockstaria Crystals. So it's just the Rockstaria part on the web address. And you can reach me on Facebook. I'm at Facebook Kelly A Norton 2 on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I believe that Instagram is also Rockstaria. Um, for just connecting. If you wanted to get a free download for the top 25 things to do here in Las Vegas, I have that readily available for you. And or if you wanted to get the book, you can go to www.silentstreets2020.com. It will lead you right over to the Amazon page.
Brilliant. Callie, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your wisdom about, Las Vegas, about what happens in the shutdown, relationships that, and I think in your book, you mentioned about the statistics of marriages, right? Like the impact that the shutdown has on marriages, and divorces as well. So it has an impact. I know, like in a way we're being put in a pressure cooker for the shutdown, but it's just how you see things and the perspective that you have, like what Kelly was saying about the vibration that you put it out there. If you live in a higher vibration, that you're more likely to be able to go through all those up and downs
Yeah.
in a different way. So, hopefully that will give you some insights. And going back the book Silent Streets from Amazon, or like Kelly said, from her website, kellyanorton.com, there's a link from that to go to her book as well. So, Kelly, thank you so much for being here today. Let's give people just one last pearl of wisdom or an action step that they can take to move forward, whether it's in their uplifting their vibration or just appreciating the everyday beauty and the moments that they have in life. What's your one um, advice that you can give people?
My advice would be to appreciate the value of who and what you have around you because tomorrow is not promised. And from my perspective, if you're interested in crystals, I do have a private crystal group that I teach crystals through. And that's Crystal for Beginners. It's a Facebook group. If you message me, I can send that over to you, or you can look it up. Either way.
Brilliant. Okay, Kelly, let's end with this. Las Vegas is, what's the one word that best describes Las Vegas? So Las Vegas is
Amazing opportunity growth for anyone who is willing to take the venture.
beautiful. It's an opportunity. Las Vegas is a whole world of opportunity and possibility. Thank you, everybody. And thank you so much, Kelly, for being here today. And this wraps up the show for today. It Takes Courage with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. And remember, be brave in sharing your voice because your voice is too valuable to be hidden. Okay, everybody, take care. May peace be upon you. Bye. Let's say bye, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And thank you so much, Izdihar. Just such a sweetheart.
Thank you.